I would say it's important, very important, but it's not the be-all and end-all for the National Unity Government. The future of Myanmar is going to be decided by the people of Myanmar. The decision by the United Nations is one of decisions that we outsiders can take to place pressure on the military and to give our support to the democratic movement. So it's important, but it's not the key decision for the future of the country.
Would it not be highly representative, though, for the UN to support the National Unity Government as a sort of protest about what the military junta has done?
Well, in fact, I'd go further. It's very important for the United Nations to support the National Unity Government because it is the democratic representative government of Myanmar, the one that is in fact providing more governmental services and more effectively expressing the will of the people than the military junta will ever be able to do. So it deserves recognition. It's not just a symbolic matter. It's deserving recognition and recognition generally by the international community.
How unusual would it be to have the UN endorse a candidate not nominated by the ruling government?
Well, it would be very unusual, but the military is not the ruling government. The military is ensconced in the capital behind military protection. It is not effectively in control of the country. It is not providing such essential governmental services as education, healthcare, social security and so forth. The best that we can say is that the military is a highly protected institution that is trying to exercise control over the country. But 7 months now, 8 months after the coup, it is a spectacular failure in doing so.
Chris, what sort of advice might the UN be taking ahead of this decision?
Well, United Nations officials will be taking legal advice and they'll be going back over precedents in the past. Regrettably, however, this is not just a legal matter. The decisions that are taken by the General Assembly itself are political matters. And their 193 member states will be making their own minds about who should be representative of the Myanmar people. And they'll be deciding on political grounds. They should be deciding in favour of the National Unity Government. But of course, there'll be many factors that are taken into account, including things like the views of ASEAN, the regional association, the particular interests of China and Russia and of India, a next-door neighbour, and so forth. Our hope, however, and the strong legal advice that I, amongst others, have provided, is that this matter should be decided on the basis of who represents best the people of Myanmar, and on that score, according to precedent and law, the National Unity Government is entitled to recognition.
OK, so Chris, take us through the process. Of course, the General Assembly is gathering, but we won't necessarily know an outcome for quite some time.
We may not know for some months, but we may also know in the next couple of weeks. The General Assembly, tonight our time, will be appointing a credentials committee. That's a relatively formal and quick process. There are 9 member states that are members of that committee. 3 states are members all the time, the United States, Russia and China, and another 6 are appointed on an annual basis. That committee then has the responsibility of deciding who should be seated for each of the 193 member states. Usually that's a very routine process. It's pretty self-evident who should be representing any country, like Australia, for example. But occasionally, like on this occasion, there is controversy. There are competing claims for the seat. The committee normally meets and goes through the process quite late in the piece, in November or December, and the committee's report is generally approved routinely by the General Assembly. It's possible, however, that a member of the committee, one of the 9, or a member of the General Assembly, will ask for an urgent determination of credentials for Myanmar. And if that's the case, it will be decided relatively quickly, in the next few weeks.
Interesting.
But if it goes routinely, it could be a few months.
Yeah. Another interesting case is going to be Afghanistan. Are they even going to be represented, given the challenges that they're currently facing?
Well, that's a very real question and a great contrast. In the case of Myanmar, we have 2 claimants for the seat, putting in competing claims for credentials. In the case of Afghanistan, so far as we're aware at this stage, neither side is seeking the seat. The Taliban has not put in a list of representatives, and the former government essentially has abandoned the country, is not really seeking to represent or claiming to represent Afghanistan anymore. So in contrast to Myanmar, we probably have no claimants at this point for the seat for Afghanistan.
Fascinating times. Great to talk, Chris, and we'll watch with interest. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.